Hiya and welcome to Brain Injury Bites, where we provide help and advice for people after a brain injury. My name's Brooke and I've lived with a traumatic brain injury since 2007.
Hi, I'm Ashwini and I'm a trustee at Headway Warrington. I'm also a senior associate solicitor focusing on catastrophic injury, including brain injury. So in a previous episode, we talked about the importance of routine, and we'll be talking about that again in the context of memory. We also spoke about your experiences, Brooke, with post-traumatic amnesia, and also the fact that, people with brain injuries, different people with brain injuries will experience their symptoms in different ways. We're going to be touching on those issues again now in this episode, which is going to focus on memory and hints and tips around memory issues following a brain injury. Also, just coming back to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs that we've touched upon, we've moved away from the basic needs of food, shelter, water, rest. And we're now moving towards issues around safety and security, and feeling secure, feeling safe. And memory forms a large part of that, because it forms a large part of who you are and your identity. So, Brooke, I'd like to talk to you about some of your general experiences with your memory and specific examples as well of where your memory problems have come to light. I think it would also be helpful to talk about how you compensate for issues with your memory and what you use to help you.
Memory is a massive subject for people with a brain injury because it's you try to explain it to people and people just all you get is my memory's bad as well, which is people like that they're just trying to sympathise, I guess, but it really is genuinely different. You have developed a problem with encoding your memories. Your memory has become worse, and it's important to compensate for that because it will get better in a lot of senses, but there's things that won't return, and you need to compensate for that.
I think it's also important to realise that there are different ways in which your memory can be affected. So some people might experience retrograde amnesia, which is losing pre-existing memories. And that can be very, I'm sure, troubling and upsetting in terms of your own sort of sense of self and safety and security. There's also anterograde amnesia, which is a decreased ability to form and retain new memories as well. And in other ways, that can also be very upsetting. I'd like to talk to you about your specific issues with memory. And I remember you telling us outside of this about an experience with your car.
Yeah, well, first of all, my long-term memory has been fine.
Yeah.
I remember sat in hospital and thinking, why is nothing wrong with me? Because as old schoolers will know, remembered the landline in the house, and you knew all your mates' phone numbers off by heart, and I could still reel them off, like 20 years later. So I was thinking, what's the problem here? But forming new memories has definitely been a problem for me. That's something that I do struggle with. One example of me being poor at forming new memories was when I was at the Trafford Centre once, and I'd driven there. I'd driven in my car, and they've got sections for the car parking space, and I decided to ignore that. I'd parked in front of John Lewis, and I went in, did my shopping in the Trafford Centre. I come back out probably an hour later. I was pretty exhausted because it is pretty exhausting, that place, and it was hot and sunny on a rare hot and sunny day in Manchester, and I don't react well to the sun being on my head, and I didn't have a hat on that day, and I came out and I couldn't find my car anywhere, and what I'd done is I'd taken a photograph of where I was in relation to John Lewis's entrance, and I couldn't find couldn't find my car anywhere. I actually went back into the back into the main reception and complained that, told them that I think someone had stolen my car, and this guy came out and helped me with it. And I was just, all this time, the time was ticking. I was getting more and more tired, and it comes to a certain point where I'll be unsafe to drive. So we were kind of against the clock. It took this guy about 5 minutes to ask me which entrance did you park outside of John Lewis, and what did you see when you went in? And I couldn't remember. And anyway, we worked out there's 2 entrances to John Lewis. My car hadn't been installed at all, and it also had the other entrance. Since then, I've learned if you go anywhere like that, big shopping centre or anything like that, they'll usually have like area zones or areas of the car park that you're at, and I usually take a photograph of my car. And don't remember that you park next to the red Jeep, because the red Jeep will probably have moved. And so pick like a landmark, like a lamppost or anything like that, or a bush, if there's anything nearby. But generally the zone of the car park, and take a photo of it in your phone so you don't have to remember it.
Yeah. And that's quite interesting as well, that, in addition to the memory, it was the impact of, being fatigued from having had an hour in the Trafford Centre, which is a very busy place. And also, the physical effects of the sun, and, just that combination of things.
And the anxiety of that. You think, oh my God, my energy is going to be running out here. I'm not going to be able to drive home. And that in itself, that has an impact in draining your energy tank as well.
Absolutely. So, I think, the idea of using your phone, taking a photograph, but choosing something that's fixed, that's not going to drive off, to help you, and really making a concerted effort to make a note of where you are.
I mean, in this day and age where everybody is just addicted to the phones, I think it's a bad thing. Sometimes I think it's a bad thing. No one wants to have a conversation anymore. Everybody sits and looks at the phone, and but I tell you what, they're so useful for people who've got a brain injury.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a charity I used to go to, well, still I'm affiliated with, in Salford, called Brain and Spinal Injury Centre, Basic, and we used to have a memory class there, and a lady, Dr. Mary Todd, she used to teach us that when I first started going, it was to have a memory notebook. Okay, I carry a little notebook and pen and just write things in, and but now obviously your phone is just so much better, because it's it's a camera, it's a notepad, it's a voice recorder, so
and an alarm, and diary, and it's the kind of thing that you have with you naturally all the time. I suppose you'd have to make a conscious effort to remember a notepad and a pen, but your phone is always with you. And I suppose the other side of that is, if something went wrong with your phone, if you lost it, if it ran out of charge, then that could potentially have quite a devastating impact.
It's one of those all your eggs in one basket situations, isn't it? Yeah.
Have you ever lost your phone?
Yeah. I left it in B&M bag and swans. But generally I have a cover. I do look after my phone. I have a cover on it. So I appreciate how important it is to me. And I've got a battery pack. If I'm going anywhere, I've got a battery, like a charge-up battery pack, so I can charge it up as well if I need it. Yeah.
And thinking about other examples when your memory has caused issues. I think there was an incident where you were running a bath.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to talk about this?
I actually know about this, but I used to have like... it was like a little office that my dad made. It was like under the stairs, and it was the early days of having a head injury. I was home alone, and I'd gone to run a bath, and luckily I came out from under the stairs, and I don't know how long it had been there, but I saw there was water running down the walls, and it's been luckily decorated since then, so it'll be fine. But it's just one of the things. Another thing you can use your phone for as well is alarms. Like another thing is Alexa is really good. Just it's if you're doing something, or if you're boiling an egg, if you're doing anything like that, just setting a little alarm, or just say Alexa timer 10 minutes, something like that, and it'll, because undoubtedly you'll get to the end of the 10 minutes and you'll have completely forgotten, but it just brings you back.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting how all these emerging technologies can really make a difference to your life, and sort of help with strategies, etc. Alexa is definitely something that's a bit of an all singing, all dancing.
Yeah,
assist.
How much they're listening to us on the daily.
Doesn't bear thinking about. But if it means that you can turn your stove off in time, or remember to turn your bath off, or whatever it is, then definitely would probably save you a fair bit on your home insurance as well. I think it's important, though. Yeah, you've touched on, setting alarms and using your phone a lot, and those sorts of things can really help. I think making lists is another one. Whatever it is, your to-do list, you're even going to the shops. I think you were mentioning before about something in Tesco's. Do you want to share that with the listeners?
Well, it's just about, I often think that I will remember stuff, but my memory has been damaged. There was one incident you're talking about was I went to Tesco's. I think I've gone to get milk, cheese and eggs. I remembered the milk, remembered the cheese, but I couldn't remember the last one, which was eggs. But despite me, it was Easter time. So there was Easter eggs everywhere, and there was. I remember actually looking at the egg section. I remember looking at quail's eggs and thinking about them for a minute, but it just didn't. It didn't actually trigger me to remember it was eggs. But I find for me is I don't have initiative when it comes to memory. So I will. I really benefit off a list and just ticking each thing off.
Yeah, definitely. And yes, it sometimes it might seem easy to go, oh, you know what, it's fine, I'll remember. But I think certainly getting into the habit of making those lists and ticking them off and just being confident that you're doing everything you need to do.
Something I had at my parents' house was every time I used to leave the house, I would try and remember my keys, my wallet, my phone. And it's eventually, rather than having keys, wallet, phone, I had number 3, so I just remember to take the 3 things. Since then, I've actually had a key box installed at my house, and we don't really need our wallets anymore because I've got Apple Pay for everything. So I just remember my phone, so it's the one now. But if the point was there, if you're kind of embarrassed about something like that, if having to have labels everywhere, just something that works for you, like number 3 works for me because keys, wallet, phone.
That's the thing. I think, different people are affected in different ways, and it's about finding the strategies that are comfortable for you, that fit into your day-to-day life.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's totally different. I mean, I've got friends who have brain injuries, and a lot of them so one of my friends has got he kind of walks with more of a limp, and he's more physically affected than me, but then he doesn't have the fatigue levels that I have. And I've got other friends that maybe speak with a bit of what do you call it, a bit of a drawl, and they don't, they're not as articulate kind of thing, but then they don't have the speech, and they're fine physically. It's just it's kind of. Everybody is different. There's that saying, isn't there? If you've seen one brain injury, you've seen one brain injury. So it's everybody's totally unique.
Yeah, absolutely. So thinking then, just to sum up some help and advice tips for our listeners, we've talked about the importance of using phones, which can also double up for alarms, for diary entries, and reminders. taking pictures of things. So you've got a visual record of where you've left your car or your keys or whatever. Some people might prefer not to go down the technology route. So it might be more old school, as you say, you know, pad and pen.
A memory notebook is just everything you used to write everything in there. But I mean, I think the bad thing about that is you just get this jumbled up notebook full of all sorts of stuff. But and my mind's jumbled up enough as it is, but definitely to write it down, because that creates a permanent memory, and your phone or notebook won't forget, whereas you will.
Yeah. And for some people, that's sort of what we call kinesthetic, you know, the actual doing, the writing it down, that can help.
Enforces it.
Sometimes people find that Post-it notes are helpful. Not everybody. Whiteboards in the house, you know, setting out what's going to happen that day, that week, that sort of thing. But the importance of routine, and you touched upon this, you know, putting things in the same place, having your key box, for example, so your keys always live in your key box.
And remember to put them back in the key box after you've used it.
Back in, yes. And I suppose routine comes down to the wider issue of organisation. I mean, you know, talking about lists before, that's not just something that's unique to brain injury, is it? It's something that everybody can benefit from.
Everybody can benefit from, yeah. But I suppose it's more prominent if you've got a brain injury that get your memory aids and organisation in check.
Yeah, and we know that some people with brain injuries struggle with the organisation, the planning and organisation.
Particularly if you've had the front of your brain injured, that's your frontal lobe, which is primarily involved in planning, organising, and your executive tasks,
Yeah. And also, you know, we've talked about new technologies, things like Google Home Assist, Alexa, those sorts of tools to help people, you know, just instantaneously set a reminder or get information. And I'm sure that occupational therapists, for example, will be live to a lot of these sorts of technologies and how they can assist people, in how newer technologies can be really important to helping people with a brain.
Hiya, and welcome to Brain Injury Bites, where we provide help and advice for people after a brain injury. My name's Brooke, and I've lived with a traumatic brain injury since 2007.
Hi, I'm Ashwini, and I'm a trustee at Headway Warrington. I'm also a senior associate solicitor focusing on catastrophic injury, including brain injury.
So in a previous episode, we talked about the importance of routine, and we'll be